Homeownership is often seen as the American dream, but does buying a home versus renting a home actually make more sense here in San Diego? Owning a home definitely has its advantages. You build equity, enjoy ownership tax benefits, and lock in a mortgage payment that, well, it stays stable over time. On the other hand, renting can offer flexibility, oftentimes lower payments than, let's say, a mortgage payment, and of course, you don't have to worry about any home maintenance. Financially speaking, I mean, what's the better option? Today's video, we're going to explore this by analyzing a San Diego townhome currently for sale and determine if it makes more sense to buy or to rent. And let me start off by saying this, it's not as straightforward as you think. Now, I found a great property here that we can use for a breakdown. It's an upgraded 3-bedroom townhome located in the northern part of Pacific Beach. A very nice neighborhood. It could be anywhere, but in this video, let's just use Pacific Beach as an example. It's updated, has some square footage. We're looking at right around 1,300 or so square feet. By the way, this part of the video, at least for the next couple minutes, it's gonna feel a little bit complicated. It's gonna be a little calculation heavy. Don't worry, by the end of the video, I'm gonna tie it all together and make it very simple. Now, let's say you made the decision to purchase this townhome. So you go ahead, and in this scenario, let's say we're putting a 20% down payment or $200,000. And by the way, in case you're wondering, the average down payment right now for the average home buyer in San Diego and other parts of the country is far less than 20%. It's closer to like 10%, give or take. You don't need 20%. That's kind of one of those old real estate myths.
Oh, thank God.
Now, your monthly cost, your mortgage payment per month, all in this example, is going to be right around $6,632. About $5,214 going to the mortgage or the principal and interest. By the way, I assumed a 6.8% mortgage rate. They do change on a daily basis, so keep an eye on that. If they go lower, this monthly mortgage amount would go lower as well. $1,042 for property tax. California, the property tax rate is 1%. And then you add on any additional like local like bonds, any kind of specialty fees, anything like that. I usually assume a figure of about 1.25%. I find that my calculations usually come out pretty accurate. $225 for home insurance. And no, all the home insurers did not leave California. And $300 in HOA fees. That's very specific to this townhome. That's going to vary depending on where you buy and what you buy. On the flip side, I went ahead and I looked at the current rental rates. I came up with a figure of $5,200. I know this market very well. I have a couple rental properties myself here. I think that is pretty accurate. Therefore, I think the next obvious question is it better to rent? Take your savings, your 200 grand, and invest it somewhere else? I mean, are you going to do better financially in the long run? Now, owning the condo seems expensive, but let's crunch those numbers. After property tax deductions from the mortgage interest and property taxes, your monthly cost of ownership is going to effectively drop to roughly $5,382. Let me explain. Now, this is San Diego, so the tax deductions that I'm talking about are going to be specific mostly to California. Property owners here can deduct up to $10,000. In addition, you can deduct home mortgage interest on the first $750,000 of your mortgage. Let's assume in this example, you're getting the full $10,000 property tax deduction. And let's say you're getting $50,000 for mortgage interest maybe. I mean, then we're looking at a grand total right now of about $60,000 in tax deductions, assuming you're in the income tax bracket that I estimated to buy this home. Now, bear with me. I'm going to tie this all together at the very end, so just hang in there. If we were to sprinkle these tax savings or divide them up into 12 months, kind of your annual mortgage cycle, it works out to about $1,250 per month, bringing your net payment down to the $5,382. Does that make sense? You are paying the $6,632 per month, but once everything's said and done, taxes are paid, that's your overall net. You don't get that with a rental property. With renting, you're paying that $5,200 a month and you're gaining zero equity. More on that in just a moment. Let's take a look at what this looks like 5 years out. After 5 years, your $1 million condo, let's say it's appreciated at about 4% annually. A very realistic figure for San Diego, especially the last few years. At an average 4% annual increase, your $1 million condo would now be worth about $1,216,653. I know This is the reality of the real estate market we're living in right now. But keep in mind, there are no guarantees. 5 years have gone by. It's now time to sell our condo. At the sale, first thing you got to pay off is whatever's left of your mortgage loan. In most cases, there's going to be realtor fees and closing fees. Any home maintenance over the last 5 years. If you own a property, a home, townhome, condo, I mean, there's going to be home maintenance. When it's all said and done, you'd be walking away with about $163,066 for profit. I mean, that's not bad. Digging a little bit deeper, that's an annualized net gain percentage of about 12.67%. I mean, that's pretty good. Another huge perk, your profit and getting your $200,000 back, there's absolutely zero tax to pay on your gains. If you live in your condo 2 out of the last 5 years, you're exempt up to $250,000 for an individual, $500,000 for a married couple. And capital gains, that profit goes straight in your pocket. And by the way, I do this on the regular. If you need specific help working out a scenario like this for yourself, or you just want advice, maybe buying or selling real estate anywhere in San Diego County, or across anywhere pretty much in the country for that matter, I can help. Don't be afraid to hit me up. I mentioned it earlier, but by renting, if you're consistently able to reinvest the savings, invest that $200,000, you'd probably end up with a net gain of about $104,663. That's a pretty specific number, and I'm gonna break down some of the factors I use to get to that figure. I assumed annual gains in the stock market of about 10%, and I assumed your money was going into something like, let's say, an S&P 500 index fund, an annual 10% return. If you're looking for an average on, let's say, the S&P 500, especially the farther out you go, it's gonna get real close to 10%. Now, something to keep in mind, I think we all know this, it's very rare that your rental rate will ever stay the same.
Because the rent is too damn high.
I went ahead and I assumed each year, each of the 5 years, your rent was gonna go up. I used a figure of 3%, but there was a time when they were going up pretty drastically per year. I think 3% is a pretty conservative estimate. There's a clear overview of what those rent increases over the 5 years with the annual increase of 3%. Something to notice, by about year 3, your rental payment starts to exceed your net mortgage payment amount. Only going by the mortgage payment amount, you don't include the tax benefits, I mean, you would miss this. In total, like total investment value that you walk away with 5 years later, approximately $324,000, almost $325,000, at least per my calculations, a net gain of about $123,000 or so. I mean, that's not terrible at all. But here's the kicker. In order to realize those gains in the stock market, you're gonna have to sell. And when you sell, I think anybody who's sold anything in the stock market, you know what that means. You're gonna generate capital gains. Now, 5 years, you're looking at long-term capital gain rates versus short-term capital gain rates, so that's a positive, but still a tax you're gonna have to pay. I mean, it's cutting into your bottom line. I think for this example, I mean, most of us are probably gonna fall within that 15% tax bracket as far as long-term capital gains go. So you're looking at approximately 15% of $123,133. Taxes, ooh, I know, it hurts. Leading to a total tax bill of about $18,469. All in, you're walking out those financial double doors with about $104,663. I mean, you can't really complain. That's pretty good. Financially speaking, buying or renting, I mean, I think they're both pretty competitive. But if you want to be particular, buying a condo definitely beat out renting a condo. In this example, in Pacific Beach, for sure. These are all estimates based on the best information historically that we have available to us. However, that is no sure prediction of the future. Oh God, I better knock on some wood. I think the takeaway is both scenarios could appreciate well, but there are a lot of factors out of our control that could drastically affect the outcomes, good or bad. So which is actually better, buying or renting? In my opinion, I think if you're gonna stay in San Diego a little bit longer, I think buying does slightly edge out renting a little bit at least. But if you want to maintain a far more flexible lifestyle and you're committed and you're confident in your financial discipline, hey, maybe renting would be a great choice. And as if you're not totally confused, I'm confusing myself over here. What if you don't want to sell? You want to stay in your townhome, your investment. You're looking at a much longer timetable. Maybe mortgage rates are significantly lower at that point. You always have the option to refi your townhome, condo, or your home. It can make a big difference on your monthly mortgage payment amount. I mean, it can drop drastically. Maybe you sell the townhome for a profit, put that into your next property. Maybe you hold onto it now that your mortgage obligation per month is lower. You can rent out that property and be cash positive. Move on to your next property. I mean, property ownership has so many great options. Whatever you choose, I think a lot of us know this, San Diego is an incredible place to call home. But I mean, the right financial decision is going to be the one that fits you the best. Thank you for watching. Subscribe for more San Diego content that you don't want to miss. And I'll see you on my next video.